6 p.m. Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Prime Minister has called upon the civilized world to take steps to put an end to the desecration of the sacred holy books. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation has urged the United Nations Secretary General to take action aimed at preventing abhorrent acts of burning of the Holy Quran. The Finance Minister says no new taxes are being imposed on the agriculture and real estate sectors. The Foreign Office spokesperson has said Pakistan is ready to play its role in promoting dialogue for peaceful settlement of the Ukraine conflict. Pakistan has welcomed the United Nations Secretary General's new policy brief outlining a more robust multilateral framework to boost peace and security in the world. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the National Investigation Agency continues its crackdown in different areas to victimize the Kashmiris for their affiliation with the ongoing freedom movement. In the first semi-final of the ACC Men's Emerging Cup, Pakistan A team beat Sri Lanka A by 60 runs at Colombo today. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif has said no civilized society will allow the desecration of the sacred holy personages, symbols, and the divine books in the name of freedom of expression. In a tweet today, he said the grant of permission to desecrate the Holy Quran, Torah, and the Bible is part of a sinister, violent, and despicable agenda, the sole aim of which could be to threaten the world peace. The Prime Minister called upon the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and the civilized world to come forward and take steps to put an end to such abominable practices as desecration of the holy books. Shahbaz Sharif said, "We should not let a handful of satanic characters undermine our shared values of peace, tolerance, and pluralism." A delegation of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation countries, including Pakistan, called on the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres in New York and apprised him of the intense feeling of anger in the Muslim world over the vile acts of desecration of the Holy Quran in Sweden. During the meeting, Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Munir Akram, together with envoys of Egypt, Bangladesh, Saudi Arabia, and Mauritania, urged the United Nations chief to take action aimed at preventing such abhorrent acts. Munir Akram conveyed to the Secretary General that the Parliament of Pakistan had adopted a resolution condemning the despicable act of desecration of the Holy Quran in Sweden and handed over a copy of the resolution. The Pakistan envoy also underlined the need for those countries to outlaw deliberate acts of provocation such as the burning of the Holy Quran, which can lead to violence. The Secretary General of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, Hussein Brahim Taha, has strongly condemned another provocative act of desecration of a copy of the Holy Quran in Sweden. He expressed deep disappointment that the Swedish authorities continued to issue permission despite the alarming consequences of the despicable act of the desecration. The Secretary General said the right to freedom of expression and opinion carries responsibilities under international law, which clearly prohibits any incitement to religious hatred and discrimination. The Minister for Finance and Revenue, Mohammad Ishaq Dar, has said no additional taxes will be imposed on the agriculture and real estate sectors. Speaking in the National Assembly today, Ishaq Dar clarified that all fiscal decisions made by the government are aimed at fulfilling the International Monetary Fund's requirements and commitments. He said the country's foreign exchange reserves have soared to $14 billion as a result of the government's efforts. He said $8.7 billion are in possession of the State Bank of Pakistan and $5.3 billion are held by the commercial banks, referring to the $3 billion standby arrangement reached with the International Monetary Fund and the financial assistance extended by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. He said, "We have made all the external payments in a timely manner." He also expressed the determination to further enhance the foreign exchange reserves. The finance minister clarified that the government has already delivered on IMF's prior actions and announced taxation measures of 215 billion rupees in the winding up budget speech. The Foreign Office spokesperson Mumtaz Zahra Baloch has expressed the hope that Ukraine conflict will be resolved soon through negotiations, and Pakistan is ready to play its part in promoting a dialogue to end this war. Responding to a question at the weekly news briefing in Islamabad today, she said Pakistan and Russia are friends and we have a very solid relationship. She said Pakistan's engagement with Russia will continue and Islamabad is concerned about the sufferings of the civilian population on both sides. Replying to another question, the spokesperson said Pakistan has raised its concerns with the Afghan interim authorities regarding the use of the Afghan soil in carrying out terrorist activities inside Pakistan. She said Pakistan expects that Afghanistan will adhere to its commitments it made with the international community to not allow any individual or group to use its soil to pose threat to regional peace and security. This is Radio Pakistan. Pakistan has welcomed the United Nations Secretary General's new policy brief outlining his vision of a more robust multilateral framework to boost peace and security for a world in flux. Commenting on Antonio Guterres' new agenda for peace, Pakistan's permanent representative to the United Nations, Munir Akram, said his initiative comes at a time when we may be at the dawn of a darker era of history. He said the world faces complex and interlocking threats to peace arising from the use and threat of use of force in violation of the United Nations Charter. Munir Akram said the Secretary General's attempt to outline a new peace agenda is a timely initiative. Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, Sardar Masood Khan, says Pakistan has requested the Biden administration to arrange pre-inspection facility at the Karachi port, enabling the country to export mangoes to various parts of the United States in large quantity. Addressing the annual reception and mango festival at the Pakistan Embassy in Washington, D.C., the ambassador expressed the hope that the process would be expedited by the concerned American authorities. The participants expressed the hope that the two countries would be able to overcome hurdles in a way of export of Pakistani mangoes to the United States. India's dreaded National Investigation Agency continued to crack down in different areas of the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir to victimize the Kashmiris for their affiliation with the ongoing freedom movement. According to Kashmir Media Service, the National Investigation Agency sleuths, accompanied by Indian Army, paramilitary, and police personnel, have been conducting house raids and searches in Pulwama, Avantipura, Shupaiya, Islamabad, Anantnag, Sopore, Baramulla, and other areas for the last several days. The residents of these areas informed the media that several youth have been arrested during the last few days. The Afghan interim foreign minister Maulvi Amir Khan Muttaqi has expressed the confidence that political and economic relations between Afghanistan and Pakistan will further strengthen in future. Talking to Pakistan's special representative to Kabul, Asif Durrani, in Kabul, Maulvi Amir Khan Muttaqi said, "We will allow no one to use our soil against another country, and our efforts will always be directed at working for regional security and stability." Speaking on the occasion, Asif Durrani said visa facilities will be made more easy for Afghans, particularly for medical patients. Russia's Black Sea Fleet has practiced firing rockets at surface targets in a live fire exercise. The Russian Defense Ministry said in a statement that the crew of the Inuvet's missile boat carried out live firing of anti-ship cruise missiles at a target vessel. Earlier, Russia had issued a warning revoking security guarantees for ships carrying the Ukrainian grain. Ukraine said it wants to set up a temporary shipping route to try and continue its grain exports. And now news about sports. In the first semi-final of the ACC Men's Emerging Cup, Pakistan A team beat Sri Lanka A by 60 runs at Colombo today. Batting first, Pakistan scored 322 runs in the stipulated 50 overs, while in reply Sri Lanka A team were all out for 262 runs in 45.4 overs. Arshad Iqbal was declared player of the match for grabbing 5 wickets for 37 runs. And finally, the weather report. Rain, wind and thunder showers is expected in Kashmir, Gilgit-Baltistan, Islamabad, Punjab, Northeast and South Balochistan, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Sindh during the next 12 hours. Heavy falls are also likely at isolated places in Kashmir, Northeast Punjab, Potohar region, Islamabad, Upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Eastern Sindh during the forecast period. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website, radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch live video streaming of our bulletins on the link, facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.